All right, we'll call this Senate Minerals, Economic Development, and Banking meeting to order. I want to warn you, we have a whole list of rules. And boy, we're watching everybody to make sure they're doing the rules right. And us too. It's for us. Those rules are for us too. And let's do a roll call, please.
Senator Cooper?
Here.
Senator Jones? Here. Senator Nethercott?
Excused temporarily.
Senator Rothfuss?
Here.
Chairman Anderson?
Here.
Mr. Chairman, you have a quorum.
We have a quorum? All right, we can conduct business then. And the first bit of business is the most fun we have in the legislative session. The most famous bill in all time. I call upon somebody to come and talk to us about solid waste municipal cease and transfer funding. Wonder who that would be? Wonder who that would be? Yeah.
I have fond memories of looking at it.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Todd Parfit, Director of the Department of Environmental Quality. And yes, this is the annual cease and transfer bill, something that was started back in 2013 to help with communities and their solid waste disposal issues. And the cost to small communities under the old system was unsustainable from a cost perspective. This provided an opportunity for small communities to close their landfills and develop or build transfer stations, something that was more sustainable. We do provide an annual report in, I believe, June that is sent to the committee. And then the update that we go through in the bill here is it just updates where we are and what projects are remaining and reprioritizes those. But I'm going to quickly turn it over to the person that is responsible for actually implementing all this and the success of the program, and that's Suzanne Ingalls, who's the administrator of the Solid and Hazardous Waste Division.
He probably couldn't handle it, huh, Suzanne?
I'm sure he could, Mr. Chairman.
You think so? Go ahead, Suzanne.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My name is Suzanne Ingalls, and I'm the administrator for the Solid and Hazardous Waste Division. As Director Parfit mentioned, this program, the Cease and Transfer Program, was established by the legislature in 2013 to assist communities to close their local landfill and build transfer stations. DEQ works in coordination with the Office of State Lands and Investments to provide that funding assistance. And in 2013, DEQ prepared a prioritized list of projects, eligible projects that could receive funding. There were 52 eligible projects at that time with an estimated cost of $96.2 million. As of September 2024, 37 projects have received funding. 13 of those were transfer stations and 23 landfill closures, along with one carcass management plan. Since the program was created, the legislature has deposited a total of $69.9 million into the program account, and that's broken out into grants and loans. There originally, over that timeframe, there were $59.4 million in grants and $10.5 million in loans. As Director Parfit.
Suzanne,
Yes.
what did you say about 96.2 million?
That was, Mr. Chairman, that was the original estimate of the 52 projects that were on the very first priority list.
Okay, thank you.
Sure. One other update in our annual report from September of 2024, when the agency updated the priority list, there were there are now only 14 remaining projects. So we have made some great progress. And of those 14 remaining projects, there is an estimated total project cost of $26.5 million. Over the last year, 2 projects received funding, so they were removed from the list. And we updated one estimated project cost because we received some additional information. So of those 14 remaining projects, there are 6 transfer stations and 8 closure projects remaining. Starting in 2017, projects that received loans through the program, they started to make repayments on those loans. And so those funds have been deposited back into the program account. And to date, 13 projects have made loan repayments totaling $2.1 million. Also, since 2017, 13 projects have come in under budget for a total of $4.4 million, with that money also being returned into the program account. Mr. Chairman, that's my overview of the past year and where the program is today, and I can give you a summary of the bill if that sounds good to you. Or I could walk you through the bill.
We're so familiar with this bill that I don't think you need to walk us through it.
Okay,
But we will have some questions.
great.
I'm looking on page 4, line 3, after our 14th issue, there's TS rolling stock T for 351. What is that? Is that? Go ahead.
Mr. Chairman, that is for the Park County landfill. That community would be eligible for $351 for rolling stock for their transfer station, so additional equipment.
The other question that I think I've asked since 2013 is, are these fully funded, or do the communities have to pay some money for them too?
Mr. Chairman, the communities do provide additional match towards these. They are eligible for 100% funding if there are some financial hardships or certain situations that they meet. But those are rare. I think most communities provide some kind of match.
Okay. Other questions for the bringers? Other questions? Hearing none? Thank you. I'm glad you brought somebody that could explain that bill. Any other agencies like to speak on this House Bill 14? No? Oh. Oh, okay.
My name is Mark Lynchton, Superintendent for the Town of Upton. I'm in part in this program right now, and it's a great asset to our communities to help get these landfills closed, and the funding is a big thing for a small community. And there is a match that we all are aware of, and we plan for that. And I just want to say thank you for the continued support for that. And I'm a small community, it's a great deal.
Oh,
Thank-
good.
Thank you very much.
Good. So you're closing yours out and putting in
Yes.
a transfer station?
Yep, we're at the transfer station being built right now,
Where will the transfer go to?
to the new solid waste facility in Newcastle.
In Newcastle?
Yep, yep. So, yeah, it's a great deal. It's right now, it's a really, the new landfill's great. The project is moving forward, and I'm happy to, like I said, small communities have a hard time running landfills now anyway. I mean, it's expensive. It's a scale of economics to do what you have to do to provide a service. So, but anyway, thank you so much for supporting us. Thank you.
So you're not on the list, so you must have been financed already.
Yeah, I'm finance. I just
Yeah,
wanted
okay.
to just say thank you. Yep, we're good.
Okay?
Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, this is the easiest thing I have to do this whole session. Please support this bill. We appreciate all your support. So
Your name?
Ashley Herbshe with WHAM, sorry.
Any questions? Any questions? Any questions? Thank you. Anyone else like to speak on this? Good little bill. Our 12th year of this? And we're doing a good job with it. Any public like to speak on this bill? We don't have anybody on Zoom, do we?
No, Mr. Chairman, not for this bill.
Okay, all right. Well, if you're all done talking, is there any legislators that'd like to speak on this bill? No? Oh, okay. Okay, we'll close public comment and committee, what's your pleasure?
Bill.
Moved and seconded by Jones, seconded by Jones. Any discussion? Any discussion? Did you want to make that amendment to that dollar amount, Senator Cooper? No. Okay. No amendments? No discussion? Let's have a roll call then. What do you say?
Mr. Chairman, this is a roll call vote for House Bill 14. Senator Cooper?
Aye.
Senator Jones? Aye. Senator Nethercott?
Excused AWOL.
Senator Rothfuss?
Aye.
Chairman Anderson?
Aye.
Mr. Chairman, that's 4 ayes and 1 excused.
That baby squeaked by the Senate Minerals Committee, and somebody's got to take it on the floor, and I think that somebody should be somebody that isn't here.
Well,
What do you think?
Mr. Chairman, in tradition of the committee, the newest member usually takes this, and since she's not here to defend herself, I think that's an excellent idea.
All right, then we'll assign it to her. Okay, Senator Nethercott will take this good little bill. Yeah, it's gonna be tough for her, but she
You're here
can,
to defend yourself.
yeah, she isn't here, so tough going. Okay, next bill to come before the Senate Minerals Committee is House Bill 22. Is there anyone here who would like to speak on House Bill 22? Oh, look at here.
Good.
Waste and wastewater operator emergency response.
Thank you,
I
Mr.
don't know,
Chairman.
Alicia.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good afternoon, committee. Elisa Campbell, so House District 56. Thank you for your time. Hopefully this will be a super easy bill for you. So the purpose of House Bill 22 is really twofold. One, it originated out of the city of Opal. So they were the ones that flagged this for us and said, this is a problem. Our water and wastewater certified personnel are not classified as emergency personnel. So when there is a natural disaster, when there is fire, flooding, they're not allowed on site to manage our water or wastewater systems, which creates challenges for our municipalities. So Opal reached out with a resolution from their city council, and that's where this ball started rolling. That was last May, I believe. And then in June of last year, so during our Wyoming Association of Municipalities summer conference, all of the municipalities had an opportunity to give this a look and said, yes, this is absolutely important to all of us. So across the board, benefits all of our municipalities. The second reason this is important is in 2018, our federal government passed the Federal America Water Infrastructure Act. And right now, our state statute is not in compliance with that act. So what this bill does is brings us into compliance with the Federal America Water Infrastructure Act. But more importantly, it benefits all of our municipalities. So you'll see on page 1 of the bill, line 10, we're actually just amending 2 parts of our Wyoming statute, 1913-108 and 35-9-152. So we're just inserting a couple of definitions. You'll see on page 2 where the first one is inserted, and that is on line 10. So with our Homeland Security plans, it's just including our water and wastewater personnel in the conversation and in the coordination of those plans. So as we're building out those emergency response plans with Homeland Security, including those personnel, because it would make sense, right? We need to have our water and wastewater guys as part of the emergency plan. Then on page 3 is where we include our certified water and wastewater operators as emergency responders. So they are able to respond to those natural disasters or other emergencies that might impact our municipalities. So pretty simple, and I'll absolutely answer any questions if I can.
Yeah, we'll have questions, Alicia. Questions, committee. Questions. Come on, committee. No questions? Okay, Alicia. We'll,
Understood it.
oh, you have a question?
No, I just thought I understood it. I felt good about it.
Well, you explained it really well. We actually understand it. So thank you. Thank you for coming to Minerals. Anybody, any other agencies like to speak on House Bill 22? Any agencies like to speak on 22? No? Any cities like to speak on 22?
Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, Ashley Harpstreet, Wyoming Association of Municipalities. This is a great little bill, second easiest thing I'm doing today. WAM, with its membership last summer, passed a resolution unanimously to take this up, so we would really greatly appreciate you passing this through, and we have 100% support, so.
What, Ashley, why do you suppose this came from Opal? Is it because they could have an emergency that more than other places, or?
Sure. Mr. Chairman, I think it has to do with some of their industrial development that goes on there.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. Other questions for Ashley? Go ahead.
Mark Lindstrom, Superintendent for the Town of Upton. Yes, this is a good bill. I mean, it's definitions that should be in there that we can fall back on, because your operators are usually the first ones to be called, especially if it's a city emergency, stuff like that. And a lot of times we put our resources in with emergencies. We have the equipment, stuff like that. So that way it does give these guys a little more they're in the loop, more than just out there, we'll need you, we need you, or whatever, something like that. But I think it's a really good addition, and then the changes that need to be made matches what needs to be done. So I appreciate the support from the committee on that too.
Mark, do you think we've violated this and made our guys emergency responders, even though they weren't in the bill? Have they responded to emergencies?
I've never had a problem in my community because, we're kind of out by ourselves anyway. So usually my people are the first ones there with our fire departments, the small communities, usually it's all of them. But like I said, if you get into industrial, a lot of people have rules, they have regulations. If you're not listed as a emergency responder, you can't go on there. Every company, every entity's got their own rules. Like for my community, it's not really been a problem, but it can be, I guess, sometimes. So it doesn't hurt to have it in there. And it doesn't make it mandatory that my people have to respond. It depends on what it is. If it's a sour gas leak or whatever, it depends. There's safety features that would be looked at too, so. But.
Other questions for Mark? Other questions for Mark?
Thank you.
We might have questions for Alicia, more questions for her. Oh. Okay.
If I may, Mr.
You-
Chairman?
Sure.
To follow along, we have heard from some larger communities, though. I would say even the one that we represent, there have been a couple of instances with major structural fires or wildlife fires where our water and wastewater operators were not allowed because they weren't emergency responders and created some challenges. Yeah.
Wow.
So just having that clarification that we are emergency responders in addition to our fire, our police, our traditional, I guess, emergency responders, need to have our water and wastewater guys there too.
Questions? Questions? Yeah. Question here.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Let's see, Ms. Campbell, Representative Campbell, what was the name of the bill that the federal language that we're trying to be compliant with?
I would tell you, but I'm going to let her find it for
Yeah,
you.
she can run.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you for the question. I wrote down the acronym, but you probably want more than that. It's the Federal America Water Infrastructure Act
Wow,
of 2018.
thank you.
Federal American Infrastructure Fay
Act. Yes.
A.
AWIA, AWIA.
That's what I was gonna say.
I got that.
Any other questions? Any other questions? Any other questions? Hearing none, thank you for your testimony, all three of you. Anyone else like to speak on House Bill 22? Oh, and do we have a Zoom on this?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, one.
Nobody else in the room? Nobody else in the room? Okay, let's hear from Zoom. Mr. Pepper, are you there?
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman.
Good afternoon.
Mark Pepper, Executive Director of the Wyoming Association of Rural Water Systems. And for Senator Cooper, we refer to it easiest as OWIA, the OWIA Bill of 2018 that came out of the Senate Environmental Public Works Committee, chaired at that time by Senator Barrasso. And the two provisions in that require the local emergency planning committees and emergency managers have to coordinate with water and wastewater systems and vice versa. Water and wastewater systems have to coordinate with the local emergency managers. As Representative Campbell indicated, we have had a couple instances where during an emergency, water and wastewater operators attempted to help, I guess it is a good word, in preventing further issues, only to be turned away. And a lot of this, if I may, Mr. Chairman, our association has been working on this since Katrina. In 2004, I think was Katrina, in trying to get water and wastewater operators designated as first responders. In most states, I think we have 35 states right now. Wyoming would become the 36th, where there is a formal designation. Again, it was born out of finding out during Katrina when water and wastewater systems were decimated, that the water and wastewater operators would show up. And we do love our first responder firemen and police, but they really don't know how to run a water system or a wastewater system. And so it was a coordinated response that bore out of that, but it was one of those where law enforcement would prevent the responding water and wastewater operators from accessing some of the resources and systems that were necessary. So this is just a phase one. Well, once we get the designation, we'll still have to work with the operator certification department and with Homeland in getting some sort of a credential, whether that's a ID or some sort of an ID that they could show to a sheriff's deputy or to someone else. And I really appreciate OPAL did bring it to us, and we also helped with some of the resolution drafting, and then I know they took it up with WHAM, and I appreciate that. So it's a collective effort of all of us, and I'd stand for any questions that might be around for WIA or for any of the other aspects of this bill.
All right, Mr. Pepper. It's interesting to hear that you couldn't get anything done on this till Representative Campbell stepped in and got it moving for you.
Yes, sir.
Any
Thank you.
questions for Mr. Pepper? Any questions for Mr. Pepper? Hearing none, thank you, Mr. Pepper.
Thank you.
I think that's all the room in the Zoom. We'll close public comment, and what's your pleasure, committee. Moved by Jones and seconded by Cooper. Any discussion? Any discussion? Any discussion? There is money in this bill, so I guess it, oh, no, there isn't. That was the last one that had money on it. Yep, this has no money on it, so somebody will be able to just take this to the floor and do it. Oh, we better pass it first, though.
Oh, yeah, we better do it.
Let's do a roll call on this baby, see who likes it.
Mr. Chairman, this is a roll call vote for House Bill 22. Senator Cooper?
Aye.
Senator Jones? Aye. Senator Nethercott?
AWOL.
Senator Rothfuss?
Aye.
Chairman Anderson?
Aye.
Mr. Chairman, you have 4 ayes and 1 excused.
Yeah.
Excuse, yeah. Oh, give her an excuse, yeah. Yeah, sure. Okay, that passed the committee. Who's going to take this on the floor?
Craig.
Oh, yeah, Craig was on there.
Okay, Craigo, you take it on the floor. All right. Well, that'll be all we can get done this, for this session, I guess. The next one to come before us is House Bill 41, engrossed. And we have somebody who'd like to talk about it. Go ahead.
Thank you, Chairman Anderson, Martha Lawley, House District 27. Good afternoon, members of the Senate Minerals Committee, good friends, old friends. I'm very pleased to bring you House Bill 41, and it is about irrevocable letters of credit. And this bill is a result of a constituent request. Had a local credit union in my community contact me and say, hey, we have a business member that really wants to issue irrevocable letter of credit in lieu of a bond for a DEQ project. And I'd like you to do it as my credit union. And the statute mentions just banks. It doesn't mention credit unions. And so I went to DEQ and really appreciate their hard work and sorting out the issue, because there are some bonds that DEQ handles that are on federal land, and this would not cover that because that's under a federal statute. So what I've done is just go in the statute, work with DEQ to find ways to kind of segregate that idea of non-federal, and so allowing for on the DEQ bonding that they have on either state lands, private lands. Basically, they can use an irrevocable letter of credit from a credit union. And basically, that's what the bill does. It provides for them to be able to do that. And again, I can walk through the bill if you like. It's pretty simple. There's 2 kind of areas regarding bonding and that we address this issue in. And the first one is 3511-418, cash or securities in lieu of bond. And that's where you see most of the language that goes into in that section, and then it's going to be somewhat repeated then regarding bonding for solid waste management. But again, what we're doing is basically saying that credit unions can do that. And we're going to have some folks, I think, that'll speak for the credit unions. Again, I just look for your favorable consideration. I think this is long time due. We have a lot of active and credit unions in our state, and they do good business, and they have many business members that could take advantage of this. And it gives operators another option in trying to look at what to do in terms of bonding and things in lieu of bond. So with that, Mr. Chairman, I will stand for questions.
Representative, we have the original, and we have the engrossed copy.
Yes.
There isn't too much change, is there?
Mr. Chairman, thank you for that question. Yeah, what we did is when we got to committee, and DEQ can speak to this on the House side, and we had some language on page 2, line 1, and when we got into committee, DEQ had determined that was not clear language, and so we simply substituted the phrase "for coal mining operations" on line 1, and it was just a kind of a cleanup that we did in committee, and that's the only change.
Oh, okay. Okay. Okay, any other questions? Yes, Senator Cooper.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Representative, with that said, coal mining operations have to be with a bank, and non-coal mining operations can be with a credit union. Is that correct?
Mr. Chairman and Senator Cooper, well, there are some situations, and that's what you see for coal mining operations. There are some situations in which they could use a credit union, and then there's others which they can't, and that's why we have this section the way it is. So I think the DEQ, though, can really make sure that's right.
All right, thank you.
Yep.
Representative, I'm looking on page 2, line 17. It looks almost like we added "or all 4." I mean, you wouldn't get 4 of those bonding requirement. You wouldn't go to all of them, would you? Why does it say "or all 4"?
Be a combination.
Well, Mr. Chairman, I think the intent there is that these are all 4 available, and they might use part for this and part for that. So there could be circumstances, business-wise, that they would have a few options. So it just simply says that these are all available.
Okay. Yes, Senator Rothfuss.
And, that does seem awkward now that it's mentioned. I see that it's mirroring the language up on lines 6 and 7 and carrying it down, but it does seem a little bit awkward that it's "or all 4," which would somehow imply that 3 was unacceptable. Any 3 of them would not be, but you can use 1 or you can use 4. I don't know if there's a reason why that "or all 4" is there. Any further sense on that, or it's just, it is taken from above, I assume, right?
Correct. It was already in statute, and I think it's just trying to make clear that the options are there, and there might be certain instances they would use one part for one and one avenue on another. So I think it's just letting them know they can use any of those 4.
So
Thanks.
would it be good to say "or any or all of the 4"? Is that what we're saying?
Mr. Chairman, I would say that if you wanted to add that, to give clarity, I don't think it would in any way impact the bill and might bring some clarity for some folks.
Other questions for Representative Lawley? Other questions? Hearing none, thank you. Thank you
Thank
for
you.
making it over here.
Thank you. I escaped education for a while.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, any agencies like to speak on this? We do have an agency.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Again, Todd Parfit, Director of the Department of Environmental Quality, and with me is Kimber Wickman, the Administrator for Management Services, and that group handles all the bonding for the agency. I'll be brief on this. Really, the big change is it allows credit unions to participate in the process for bonding for non-coal mines. Now, if you look at page 2, the lines 1 through 7, which is the paragraph A, as was mentioned, we did clarify that that language that exists now is for coal mining operations and is consistent with the federal language. And that's, as awkward as it may be, is where that language came from. Doesn't mean that it couldn't be changed, but we would have to probably do a program amendment with the Office of Surface Mines if we were to do that. As far as for the non-coal mining, lines 9 through 17, We don't have those same restrictions, and that's really why that was separated out, which was to allow the credit unions. In paragraph A, lines 1 through 7, there's a reference to a bank and not credit unions. We have to keep that in order to stay consistent with the federal regulations, but have the ability to deviate from that for the non-coal mines, which would allow us to consider bonding instruments from a credit union. So anyway, so just an explanation of that. We did work with Representative Lawley, and I say we, Kimber Wickman, the administrator, actually worked with Representative Lawley, and she is here to answer any hard questions that you might have.
Well, do we want to give her some easy questions? Do we want to give her some hard questions? Hard questions, here we go.
It's an easy one, but,
Oh.
so my understanding that is it's explicit in federal law that for a coal mining operation, you can't have an irrevocable letter of credit issued by anything other than a bank. You can't use a federal credit union. So that's explicit in federal statute then, am I correct?
Chairman, Senator Rothfuss, correct, and this mirrors that language.
Okay, great. Thanks. See, that wasn't very hard.
No. Do either one of you have a opinion on line 17, changing that to any or all four? Is that, should we change that, do you think, or should we leave it alone?
I'd leave it.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I think the simplest thing would be to leave it alone, because it's the same mirrored language from the paragraph above, and I think changing it then creates a little bit of confusion.
Okay, all right. Any other questions for the agency? Questions for the agency? Hearing none, thank you. Thank you for your testimony. Anyone else?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Bobby Frank on behalf of Wyoming's credit unions. Appreciate your support of the bill. Appreciate Representative Lawley bringing it. As she mentioned, one of our credit unions up in the Bighorn Basin area had a member business, operated a gravel mine, requested that his credit union submit an irrevocable letter of credit. They did so, and due to the lack of specific mention of credit unions in the statute, DQ obviously had to reject that, and this would solve that problem. With that, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
So was he turned down with his letter of credit from a credit union
Yes,
because of this?
Mr. Chairman, that's correct.
So we've never had one approved without this being changed.
Mr. Chairman, that's correct.
Other questions? Other questions? Thank you, Bobby. Anyone else? Anyone else like to speak on this good little bill, House Bill 41 engrossed? House Bill 41. Hearing none, I'll close public testimony. And committee, what's your pleasure?
Move the bill.
Moved. And seconded by Cooper. Any changes? Anybody want to make a amendment to the bill? We'll use the engrossed bill?
Yeah. That's right.
All right, let's have a roll call on it then. See if
Chairman?
Lolly can get past.
Mr. Chairman, this is a roll call vote for House Bill 41 engrossed. Senator Cooper?
Aye.
Senator Jones? Aye. Senator Nethercott?
Excused.
Senator Rothfuss?
Aye.
Chairman Anderson?
Aye.
Mr. Chairman, that's 4 ayes and 1 excused.
Who's going to take this good little bill?
What's his name on the tail end?
Your name's on it.
Hey, Jones is on there too.
Yours is before mine.
Alphabetically. Yeah.
That was just alphabetical. Well, I'll take it then, by golly. Yes, sirree. I'll do a recording of Lolly's testimony. All right. Anything else to come before the Senate Minerals Committee? Hearing none, sensing you're ready to adjourn, I'll adjourn the meeting.